Backstage, the Austin City Limits Music Festival, day one, and on that Miller Lite stage today, Gayle, who is with us now.
Hello.
So, first Austin City Limits Music Festival for you.
Yes, oh my God, it's so crazy. It's so insane.
But you've been doing a lot of festivals.
I've done a few festivals this year. It's crazy. My mom actually never took me to festivals before I started playing them. So my first experience really going to festivals has been playing them, which is crazy to me.
What's been the hardest thing to wrap your head around in those experiences, the festival experiences so far?
I think it's just the fact that people care is always the thing that blows my mind. Like the fact that people care enough to show up. And when I see the line of the amount of artists that are playing at a festival, it's really exciting and intimidating at the same time because I'm so excited about the artists that are playing. And then I think about the other artists that are playing at the same time as me. And I'm like, I'd rather see their set than mine. And the fact that people could care enough to literally show up to my stage and see the songs that I'm playing and just care enough to listen, it means the world.
Now, they're all basically first impressions.
Yes.
Because even if they know some of these songs, they've probably never seen you live.
Mm-hmm.
So these are first impressions. How much do you think about that in terms of these festivals are a chance to get people that eventually might buy a Gayle ticket?
Oh, well, I think about it a lot, actually, quite a bit, because I think about the fact that I feel like my fan base and I and the people that I'm just meeting in these shows, we're both just starting to get to know each other. ABC was my first song to ever get successful ever, and I was a 17-year-old girl. I'm still getting to know myself, and so it's this is me, this is who I am, and this is the type of music I make, and I hope you like it. And if you don't, you don't. But if you do, you do. Great. Let's hang out and let's make this a thing. Let's do this again. But I do like to think of it as an introductory of just saying hi, this is me, and I hope to see you again.
You played. Well, you were gigging at 12 or, 10, 12, wherever that is in mostly in Nashville. We'll talk about Plano in a minute. But you grew up in front of audiences, which is useful when you're 17 and at music festivals. It's also, you did a lot of growing up in public.
A little bit.
Are there already regrets? Not regrets, but where you look back and you're like, oh, I did that. I
would say there's some videos of me when I was 10 singing in some malls, because I will say, just because I was on stage doesn't mean people are paying attention. So I didn't necessarily grow up in front of an audience. I tried my best to grow up in front of an audience, and I did not do the greatest job, because most of the time I would sing in random restaurants or bars or parking lots or farmers markets, and most of the time the last thing they wanted to do was hear a 12-year-old sing. But I don't have any particular regrets. I think I maybe regret thinking me having my name be Gayle means nobody was going to know my first and last name. I thought incognito mode, got it. If I look up my name, first thing that pops up is all of my music, which I'm not ashamed about it, but I just thought I could probably change my name and live a completely separate life.
And hide behind an alter ego.
Yeah,
so if
I thought I could
Gayle, they're not criticizing you.
If Taylor Rutherford wanted to work at Panera, but no, that if you look my name up, me comes up, which I'm still very, very happy and grateful for. And there are some videos of me when I was 10 doing some singing competitions that wasn't necessarily my best vocal performances in the world that are on the internet, but things happen. I also think that's what happens when you're my generation growing up. I think kids my age and younger than me we're growing up on the internet, and that's something new that we're trying to figure out how we want to control that in the best way. And I think for me, nobody thought to think, maybe when she's 18, she wouldn't want a picture of her when she was 10 on the internet. It was just oh, this is cute, she's 10, let's put it on Facebook. And now, even kids that are younger my age, they're kind of thinking oh, maybe let's not take this picture and post it on the internet, and let's just hold it, and being aware of your digital footprint, because I think when at my age it was still something so new. Nobody knew the long-term effects of it when you're growing up,
because things can get messy pretty quick.
Yeah, they can. And I've been very lucky that I've never really posted anything inappropriate on the internet, and by any means it's just been photos of me, selfies as a kid that I don't love the idea of 60-year-old men having access to, but happens. You win some, you lose some.
How much of growing up in Plano, which is still Texas, I mean, it's suburban Texas, but it's
Texas. I get the yeehaw.
How much of that attitude informs the music we hear?
I think You know, it's interesting. When I think about my childhood, I think of Texas. So when I think about me growing up, I think of Nashville, because I moved to Nashville when I was 12. So when I started becoming like an aware, thoughtful human being, that's I think of Nashville. But when I think about like my innocence and my childhood and back when I just didn't have a care in the world, that's when I was in Texas. And I definitely, like, a lot of my childhood and my beginning of love and passion for singing started in Texas. My love and passion for songwriting really did get sparked in Nashville, but I think my passion for singing really started in Texas, and that's when I mean, there's videos of me trying to attempt to wail, like just trying to I was trying to like sing on the top of my lungs, and I just like really couldn't. But I feel like Texas was a really big part of that inspiration for me.
Speaking of things on the internet, there is a photo of you and a icon named Taylor Swift. How crazy is that?
It's the most ridiculous thing in the whole entire world. I mean, one, I didn't know Taylor Swift was going to be there.
And this was at the VMAs, I assume?
No, it wasn't. It was at the NSAI Awards, so it was the Nashville Songwriting Awards International. So it's basically a songwriting association that recently has been fighting for our rights as songwriters with streaming platforms to help us get more money, because songwriters aren't always appreciated in the best way, and it's making it every year it gets harder and harder to make a living as a songwriter. And so NSAI has been a huge advocate for songwriters, and specifically Nashville songwriters. And so Taylor Swift was nominated as Artist of the Decade / Writer of the Decade, Artist Writer of the Decade, which is a huge achievement, especially in Nashville. And I was honored as one of the 10 songs that I wish I wrote. So I also was getting nominated and awarded that night. And I was doing a performance of ABCDFU, and I played that. And then when I went backstage, Taylor Swift was there, and I was like there's one point, my best friend and I, we were walking on the red carpet just talking about our song and us getting nominated, and all of a sudden the room went quiet, and we were like, what's happening? And nobody was talking. Like, let's say we're like walking to get interviewed, like they were like,
right,
and we were like, okay, that's fine, but like, what's happening? And then we look and we just see Taylor Swift in the corner, and all of the cameras just like slowly turned to her, and everybody's just like, what do we do? What do we do? We can't move. We can't breathe. And yeah, it was so amazing. She played All Too Well, Taylor's version, 10-minute version, and it was incredible. It was absolutely insane.
And you'll have that photo forever, no matter what happens from here on out.
For the rest of my life. And I also like, one thing that I think is so iconic about Taylor Swift, and it's just specifically for me, and I'll shut up about it in a second, but it's the fact that I, as a young woman in Nashville making pop music, I went to Nashville for the first time when I was 10. Taylor Swift was a young woman Nashville songwriter in pop music. She was the blueprint. She was the people who let me and my best friend know that you can be a teenage girl and make it in the music industry by yourself with the people you love. And she taught us so much, and she's been such an inspiration for us, and we had the opportunity to tell her that, and that was very exciting, and I was very happy that I got to do that.
All right, she is Gayle, and you will find Gayle on the Miller Lite stage 3:15 from the Austin City Limits Music Festival, and thank you.
Thank you.
More interviews and performances from backstage across all 6 days of the festival with Austin City Limits Radio.